The alarm wasn't a sound. In the void, sound was a quaint, planetary concept. It was a cascade of crimson light and a psychic shriek that echoed directly in the soul. Admiral Cuthair of the Galactic Coalition felt the resplendent dawn shudder, its energy shields failing under the onslaught of the Devourer swarm. On the main holotank, the enemy was a seething, singular mass of malevolent purpose. They were the swarm, a hive mind that had consumed a dozen species, their tactics a perfect, unstoppable logic of overwhelming force. Their ships weren't individual vessels, they were cells in a single, cosmic predator. Report. Cuthair's voice was a strained hum, his 4 hands gripping the console. Shields at 12%. Primary energy conduits are failing. The swarm is adapting to our harmonic frequencies faster than we can recalibrate. The tactical officer, a slender X-Lean, was on the verge of catatonic shock. They have predicted our every evasive pattern. It is logical. We are contained. Despair filled the bridge, a thick, scentless pheromone of certain death. This was how it ended. Not with a grand, heroic last stand, but with the cold, efficient dissection of their fleet by a mind that saw them as nothing more than resources to be processed. Then, a single, steady voice cut through the psychic static. It was Commander Eva Rostova, the human liaison. Her ship, the Odyssey, was a blocky, inelegant thing, a testament to her species' recent entry into the galactic community. "Admiral," she said, her voice unnervingly calm, "I have a suggestion. It's unorthodox." Commander Rostova, Cuthair buzzed, frustration overriding courtesy. "Unless your unorthodoxy can break a predictive matrix that has bested the finest tactical computers in the Coalition, I suggest you prepare your crew for the end." "That's just it, Admiral," Eva replied, a faint, almost imperceptible smile in her voice. "They're not fighting a computer. They're fighting us, and we have a few tricks our ancestors learned the hard way." A new data packet arrived from the Odyssey. It wasn't a complex algorithm or a new shield frequency. It was a simple, 3-part maneuver designation, Operation Carthaginian Kiss. "What is this?" the X-Lean tactical officer whispered, his large eyes scanning the primitive-looking vector plots. This is madness. You're having your entire starboard flank break formation and retreat. You're exposing your core to a direct assault. It's a rout. It's a feint," Eva said. "They'll see a weak, disorganized enemy and commit their reserves to envelop what they think is a broken wing. They're predictable in their efficiency." Cuthair felt a chill. It was a level of deception his race, the Vrel, could not naturally conceive of. To show weakness intentionally, it was dishonorable, illogical. Yet, the swarm was doing exactly as Eva predicted. A massive claw of their fleet detached, surging to crush the retreating human flank. "Phase 2, Eva said, her voice still preternaturally calm. The Odyssey and its support ships, which had been holding the center, didn't reinforce the starboard flank. Instead, they executed a sharp, brutal thrust directly into the gap the swarm's envelopment had created. It was like a dagger slipping between the ribs. Their center is exposed," the tactical officer cried out, a flicker of hope in his voice. "But their point defenses are too strong. We can't penetrate." "Phase 3, Eva said. "The Kiss." The human ships didn't fire their plasma lances or launch torpedoes. Instead, they unleashed a storm of chaff, old-fashioned kinetic projectiles, and thousands of small, cheap drones emitting false sensor signatures. To the swarm's perfect, logical sensorium, it was a chaotic, senseless storm of noise. For a crucial 3 seconds, they were blind. And in that blindness, a single, specialized missile from the Odyssey, launched minutes earlier on a seemingly wild trajectory, found its mark. It wasn't an antimatter warhead. It was a tailored, corrosive data scourge, delivered directly into the heart of the swarm's local command node. The effect was instantaneous. The swarm's perfect coordination shattered. Ships collided with each other. Their fire became wild, unaimed. The single, vast predator had been struck a neurological blow, and its limbs were spasming uncontrollably. "Now, Admiral," Eva's voice was sharp, commanding. "Hit them with everything you have. They're blind and confused." The Coalition fleet, reeling moments before, poured their fire into the disorganized mass. The battle wasn't over, but the tide had turned. The unstoppable logic had been broken by a fundamentally illogical act. Later, In the debriefing chamber, the mood was one of stunned awe. "Commander Rostova," Cuthair began, his hum subdued. "That maneuver, we have no record of it in any tactical database." "What is a Carthaginian kiss?" Eva took a sip of water, a substance most of the galaxy found violently acidic. "It's from our history, Admiral. Over 2,000 years ago, a great general named Hannibal was surrounded by a much larger, superior Roman force at a place called Cannae. He feigned a weak center, let the Romans push in, and then envelop them with his stronger flanks. He didn't just defeat them, he annihilated them. We just adapted it for three-dimensional space. The data scourge was the modern touch." The ex-lean tactical officer stared at her. You based a fleet-level engagement on a battle fought with sharpened metal." "We base a lot of things on our history," Eva said with a slight shrug. "It's a long, bloody chronicle of us finding new and inventive ways to try and kill each other. We've gotten very, very good at it. But the deception," Cuthair exclaimed. "The swarm's predictive models are based on optimal tactical logic. They could not compute a strategy built on a lie." "That's our advantage, Admiral," Eva said, her gaze steady. "You all think in terms of logic and optimal outcomes. The swarm thinks that way too. It's a predictable way to think. Humanity, we think in stories. In feints and bluffs. In paradoxes. The swarm can beat the perfect warrior. It doesn't know what to do with the trickster." The chamber was silent. The concept was alien, terrifying, and yet, it had saved them all. A week later, the swarm returned. They had adapted. Their formations were more fluid, their predictive algorithms updated. They began to overwhelm the coalition's left flank, their new tactics bypassing the standard defensive protocols. Cuthair looked to Eva, who was studying the holotank with an artist's intensity. "They've learned," Cuthair said, despair creeping back. "They've adapted to your Carthaginian kiss." Eva shook her head, a faint, knowing smile on her lips. "Oh, I didn't expect that to work twice. They're logical. They learn from direct experience." She entered a new command sequence. This one is called Operation Trojan Horse. A new data packet bloomed across the fleet net. It involved a seemingly crippled ship, a false surrender beacon, and a core breach disguised as a reactor failure. The ex-lean tactical officer looked at the plan, then at Eva, his large eyes wide with a mixture of horror and dawning respect. You are offering them a gift. A gift that is a weapon. We have a whole pantheon of these, tactician, Eva said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. We've had millennia of practice in taking the noble, the logical, and the strong, and making them look like fools. The swarm is a brilliant mathematician, but we are the illogical variable. We are the chaos in their equations. As the crippled human freighter, its holds packed with enough high-yield plasma charges to crack a small moon, drifted enticingly towards the swarm's central command vessel, Cuthair finally understood. The galaxy had feared humanity's death world physiology, their resilience, their strength. But those were just tools. The true weapon, the thing that made the ancient, logical races of the cosmos shudder, was the endlessly inventive, unpredictable, and terrifyingly creative human mind. It was a mind that didn't just break the rules, it wrote its own, and then set them on fire to light the way to victory.